Hello, this is the final part of my British Empire series on European survival. 1945 was a critical year for the British Empire. Why? Because there was a Marxist inspired revolt by British forces in India, combined with a nationalist insurgency and revolt by the two different factions of the Indian nationalist movement, that was Mahatma Gandhi and the Indian Republican Army, for all intensive purposes, we'll call them that. There was also some critical moves coming to a head within the Middle East, and that was the Churchill's deal and Roosevelt's deal with the Bin Laden crime family and the Saudi royal family had come to a conclusion that they would supply oil to the Allies exclusively rather than the Soviet Union, and of course not to the Germans who were being crushed at that time, and not to the Japanese. They opened Saudi Arabia up, as it had formerly been called Arabia, but now Saudi was the name given to the entire land because of the sovereignty given by the British Empire to that family and the American Empire to that family. They thus gave that family, that crime family, the Saudis, complete control over the lives of some 20 million Arabian people in the future decades. It also linked them up with the major oil companies of the time, such as those linked with Exxon and Standard Oil, other Standard Oil companies, and also Shell and BP, British Petroleum. This gave them the springboard they needed to reach the heights of dominance that they later achieved in the late 20th century and early 21st century, which led to 9/11. Also, the Bin Ladens themselves moved from Yemen, developed a construction business and moved on, following in the wake of the Saudis until they actually overtook them in terms of power and developed their own oil industries and their own construction industries. And this was all due to Churchill. Churchill smoothed the way to allow them to enter into the international establishment, or the Anglo-American establishment. So the Saudis and Bin Ladens are part of the Anglo-American establishment. They are the old guard of who were replaced in 1945 by the socialist element of the establishment as it is now. That is from the university system. I can't go into much detail about those people, but Atlee was one of those people, but he was a middle of the roader because Atlee's Labour government wanted reform, but they was in no way giving up on the British Empire. He in fact allowed troops who were loyal to the British Empire to crush a Marxist-inspired strike by RAF crews in India, and he was also for a European Union. If we had listened to Atlee, then we would certainly have had a British Empire and a European Union, and the world would be more European than it is already now. So we could have had been top dog much sooner than 2030. Now the real problems began in 1947, because 1947 was the year that the Israelis declared war on the Palestinians and the British Empire at the same time. That was the Haganah, a terrorist organisation which was led in part by Ariel Sharon, who is no longer with us in any real meaningful sense. The other problem was the independence of India in 1947 as well. So Mahatma Gandhi and the Israelis played a very skillful game in disemboweling the British Empire. Without British forces in Palestine, this laid the way open for Iraq and Iran also to try and attempt independence. Iran didn't fully do this because, unlike the Israelis, they did not have such a weapon to use as the Holocaust. When the horrors of the Nazi death camps were opened up, it was very hard for public opinion, even in Britain, who seldom cared about the Israeli cause at all, to resist American opinion because of the strong Jewish presence in American politics, even at that time. Now, Iran tried to rebel under Mossadegh by having a democratically elected leader, but they were removed by Exxon and BP and the CIA and Shell. So he met a sticky end at the end of the rope, basically. What can we say about the British Empire in its final days? It didn't fall as the Roman Empire did, but it dissolved. Was it a force for good or evil? Well, it gave the world a mostly English-speaking, globalised world order, and also in the choice that Atlee had to make, would Britain be an empire or would it be a democracy? He chose the democracy route, but he did not have much choice. He was Britain was a crippled country because of World War II and the workings of Adolf Hitler on our infrastructure through the Luftwaffe and the V2 weapons. We were also stabbed in the back by the Americans, who didn't give us the aid that they did to Germany, but we made a good decision in bolstering up a democratic West Germany, which would later become the Federal Republic, the Bundesrepublik of Germany. And we made a strong alliance with Germany, which is the founding springboard to the European Union. And this is the road that Britain must go down. It is thus, therefore, that the British Empire spawned the European Union. It was the European Union is like a child of the British Empire indirectly. It's a reaction against the British Empire, and so it's sort of like the British Empire's rebel child, if ever there was one. So look out for the European Union, because we're on the move and we are coming back. Thank you. Listen out for more details. Peace.